If I don't do nothing else, I'm going to talk that law. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Trump. They say the jury got the case. They say the jury got the case. The case is in their hands. But before I continue, for those who don't know me, I am a five-year Texas trial attorney. Y'all see the law license on the wall signed by the 9 justices of the Supreme Court? I was minding my business. I was drinking my water. And somebody said, turn the TV on. They finna lock them up. No, I'm just playing. No, so this is a situation. The closing arguments were finished yesterday, and today the jury has the verdict. Oh, see, I made it this time at work, but I'm oh, thank you for popping in. Thank y'all. And I'm not gonna be here long. I just want to pop in. Hey, I'm surprised I'm here. But I didn't think that the jury was going to get the verdict this fast. And just like that, they don't have the verdict, but they are deliberating, so they're working towards the verdict. So who knows? We might have some action today. And so yesterday we had the closing arguments, and I just wanted to touch on it real briefly. Oh, okay. I want to touch on it real briefly. So the defense did their closing arguments, and it took about 3 hours for the defense to do their closing arguments. Let me see what he said. Not loud. Hey, can y'all hear me or not? Someone said they can't hear me. Let me see. I could turn it up. Am I sitting too far back? Can y'all hear me or no? Do y'all want me to hold? Oh, okay, you can't hear me. Okay. Somebody had said they couldn't hear me. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the closing arguments were yesterday. The defense went first. The prosecutors have the burden of proof, so they get to go last. It's an advantage for the prosecutors, but it happens. The defense get to go first. Judge has changed the game. What do you mean by that? Judge changed the game. So the defense, normally it takes no more than an hour when you do closing arguments. I have never went over an hour when I do closing arguments. And closing arguments are basically summations. What have we talked about throughout this whole trial? What are we talking about this whole trial? What did the witnesses say? You're going to summarize it. You're going to write one paragraph. The defense took 3 hours, way too long. Imagine going to a movie theater. Have y'all ever sat in a movie theater to see a 3-hour movie, a 4-hour movie? Even if it's something interesting, it's still too long. So imagine if it's just a lawyer up there talking about stuff you already know. It's like a movie you already seen, even worse. So it makes it boring. So once the defense was done, the prosecutor came on. Guess how long he took? 5 hours. 5 hours. Let me see. We got another comment. See what he said. Judge Mershon is allowing the jurors to choose one of the 3 predicate crimes. Jurors do not have to unanimously agree on which of the 3 predicate crimes Trump committed. Okay, this will make it easier to convict Trump. Furthermore, the idea that jurors can pick one of 3 and they don't have to unanimously agree on which of the 3 is another shocking development. Well, I will say that's not per se unusual on its face. because New York law doesn't have it defined in the statute. They have to prove that Trump was trying to conceal another crime, which is apparently state election law. When he wrote the checks and when he falsified the ledgers, was he trying to conceal or cover up another crime, which is federal campaign law? The theory is that his lawyer, Michael Cohen, had donated money to him, and the donated money was the money that Trump's lawyer gave to Stormy Daniels in advance. So it's so convoluted. Let's see. Merchants approach violates fair notice, and it's not remotely fair notice to tell a criminal defendant the jury can pick and choose its own crime. Well, this is true. This has been debated by a lot of legal scholars. What is the crime that Trump was trying to cover up? Was it state election campaign law? Was it federal campaign law? Who knows? But the law says, according to New York, you don't even have to say what the other crime is. You can just say it was any crime. And now, right. So what they're saying, so the crime, he is accused of breaking his election laws. So let me see if I can explain it in a simple terms. They're charging him and accusing him of falsifying business records. That's the original crime, which is a misdemeanor. But the misdemeanors expired a long time ago, which means the prosecutors can bring the misdemeanor charges. They have to elevate it to a felony level. So what they did, they said, hey, he falsified those business records, which is the misdemeanor, but he did so with the intent of committing another crime, which makes it a felony. What everyone wants to know now is, what is that other crime? Is it state campaign law that he violated? Is it federal campaign law? What is that other crime? And New York is saying, you don't have to say what that other crime is. One juror can think it was an election violation. One juror can say, hey, it was a federal campaign law violation. One juror can say Michael Cohen gave him money. Michael Cohen loaned him money when he paid Stormy Daniels. So that was the crime because Trump didn't report that on his finance log. So you can pick. The judge is saying pretty much pick whichever other crime you think it is. It don't matter if y'all all agree or not. Just pick one and let's find them guilty. Now, do the judge want Trump to be guilty? Who knows? The judge did donate to Biden's campaign, which is a conflict of interest. I mean, I think it was a small amount. I think it was like $35 or something like that, but you still donated. So whether it was $35 or $3,500, it probably was best if you would have recused yourself, just because you don't want people to think that you're biased. And this goes both ways, because you got another judge in one of Trump's other cases that Trump appointed, and that judge is not recusing herself. So did New York set the precedent that, hey, since New York judge didn't step down, now the judge that Trump appointed is not going to step down? So that's going to be an interesting trial, because obviously if somebody put me in office, more than likely I'm going to be biased and I'm going to be in favor of that person. Let's see. Bragg has never disclosed what the crime exactly. And according to New York law is saying you don't have to disclose what the other crime is. Now, is that constitutional? I don't think so, because a defendant has to have proper notice in order to prepare a proper defense. So you can't just say I did something and I don't have the adequate tools to defend myself. So that will be a big issue, which I'm sure will go before the appeals courts and probably all the way up to the Supreme Court. But the prosecutors don't care if it's lawful. They just want a conviction right now. See, what really is the crime? The only thing that I think they probably could have proved was the misdemeanors. And the misdemeanors was what I explained earlier: Trump, did you sign those checks as legal expenses to your former attorney, Michael Cohen, even though you knew they weren't legal expenses? If you wrote down that it was a legal expense and it wasn't a legal expense, that's illegal in New York. Even if it's your own personal record, let's say you have your own notebook at home that you keep your business records on, and you say, hey, I gave Michael Cohen $35,000 for legal expenses when you really gave Michael Cohen $35,000 for something else, that's a crime. But they will still have to prove that Trump knew that. But that's a misdemeanor. But what they're going as far as to say that not only did you write down that it was for legal expenses, but you did so with the intent on committing another crime, committing federal campaign election law, which they haven't proven. So that's my issue with the whole case. Have y'all proved what the other crime was that Trump supposedly committed? Let's see. His crime was beating Hillary Clinton. That can be argued. You know, I mean, to be fair, this investigation started, ironically, while Trump was president. His lawyer, Michael Cohen, Trump's old lawyer, was arrested and went to prison while Trump was president. So it's really weird. You can say that. Let's see. Judge Mershon just told jurors that they do not have to unanimously agree of what crime Trump. Well, maybe the portion, I will say on this, maybe the portion on what the actual felony crime is that they allege Trump was trying to cover up or intended to commit another crime, that part they don't have to agree on. But as far as, because he's facing 34 counts, so they will have to unanimously agree on each count. So one cannot say, hey, I want to find Trump guilty on number one, but not guilty on number two. No, you all have to agree one by one. You got to have 12 people for number one, 12 people for number two, so on and so forth. You can't pick and choose. So I'm not sure if that's what you're relaying right now, Patrick, unless you have any additional information you want to clarify. But this is the deal. I think Michael Cohen is mad because Trump, you was president when Michael went to jail. You could have gave him a pardon, but Trump didn't want to give him a pardon because Trump found out that his lawyer was secretly recording him the whole time. And which is a good, question for Michael. Michael, why did you want Trump to get you out of prison to give you a pardon when you really did this to yourself? Not only that, I would go on as far as to say, Michael, you really got yourself put in prison because when this all happened, Trump wanted to pay Stormy Daniels in cash, which is not illegal. He don't have to even admit to sleeping with Stormy, even though that's debatable. That's debatable. I'm trying to figure out, Trump, why your wife ain't show up? Did she think you did it? Boy, I'm gonna talk about that next. But you have to wonder, Michael, why was you recording Trump? Why did you tell Trump to create all these fake companies, write checks when Trump could have paid her in cash legally? And if Trump would have gave her cash, guess what? There's no checks. So you can't say I falsified business records. You can't say that I concealed another crime, whatever this other crime is. You just paid her and made her sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, so you wouldn't have to deal with the negative press of the things she had to say. Okay, let's see what he said. I'm just going down. According to Mershon, your verdict on each count you consider whether guilty or not must be unanimous. Okay, on each count. Adding that is each and every juror must agree to it. Right. So yeah, each count, each and every juror must agree to it. So yeah, all 12 have to say guilty or not for number one, all the way through number 34. But you can't just go pick and choose. As long as, you know, one of y'all said yes to number one of y'all said yes to number two, one said yes to number three. No, you don't have a unanimous verdict at that point. Let's see. Okay, let's see the second part. That said, they do not need to be unanimous on what crime they think Trump is guilty of. And I think that portion is the other crime. What other crime is he supposedly guilty of, and which elevated it to that felony level? What other crime did he commit at that time? Okay, let me see. New York judge Mershon just told jurors they do not have to unanimously agree on what crime is guilty of. It could be a 4-4-4 split. All right. Cohen was the original Terrence. Terrence. So we know who Terrence is, right? Terrence was a lawyer to Fonnie Willis out of Georgia, her lover. He was a lawyer to her lover, and then he turned on him, which is crazy. It seemed like Trump and Nathan Wade have more in common than they think. Both of y'all lawyers stabbed y'all in the back. Boy, people will stab y'all in the back and then turn around and ask you why you bleeding. You know why I'm bleeding. Damn it, you stabbed me in the back. Okay, so this is my thought process. You have some smart people on the jury, and my number one thing first, I would say a hung jury. I'll say a hung jury first, and then I will go in order 1 to 3. My second thing will be a not guilty. A lot of people are sleeping on this not guilty verdict, but the jury going to have a lot of questions. What is this other crime? We don't know what it is. How can we find them guilty? So I'm one of the few attorneys that's putting not guilty above guilty. Some people are saying there's not a snowball chance in hell that he's going to be found not guilty, but I wouldn't bank on that just because of the evidence, not because I'm hoping the verdict go one way or the other. I'm thinking, based on the facts and the law, that the prosecutors just didn't do enough to establish that link. And the star witness was the Trump's current lawyer called Michael Cohen the GLOAT, GLOAT, the greatest liar of all time. Of all times. Well, he must not been too good at it, because he got caught every time he lied, and then went to prison for lying. Let me see. I would bet guilty. Okay. Trump seems to talk like he's going to. I would say this. So even if the verdict is guilty, I think there's less than a 5% chance that Trump will actually go to jail. I mean, I don't see it happening. I'm thinking probation. First offense, no convictions, no priors. Not only that, it'll be a logistical nightmare to try to house a future president in a jail. So I doubt that's going to happen. And some people were so upset, because this is what happened. When Trump's lawyer was giving his closing arguments, he mentioned that Trump shouldn't have to go to jail because Michael Cohen is lying. And that's something that you really cannot tell the jury. You cannot put it in the back of their mind that, hey, if I vote guilty, I can send a man to jail. You're not supposed to tell the jury what could possibly happen, because that's not for them to know at this point of the trial. Now, do us lawyers slip it in anyway? Of course. I mean, why not? You want the jury to get the full picture. Now, it's frowned upon. The judge is going to be upset with you. And sometimes it happens on accident. While we're giving our arguments, it might slip out like, hey, my client didn't do this. My client don't deserve 10 years in prison. And before you know it, it's objection. The jury goes out. The judge say, "Oh, you weren't supposed to say that." Let's bring the jury back out and let's tell them that that was improper. I mean, okay, you can tell them it's improper, but it's already in their minds. You can't take it out their minds. You can't unring that bell. They know it. I mean, they're not in traffic court. I mean, they're in a felony court. And most people know when someone becomes a convicted felon, there's a chance you can go to jail. So it's not like the jury is living under a rock. They know that this man can go to the penitentiary. What everybody else think? What y'all think? Patrick? Texas Secret Service are not going to allow Trump in jail. This is only to humiliate him and sway voters because of a conviction. Most people are still voting for him no matter the verdict. This is true. This is true. This is my thought process. A lot of this stuff might get overturned on appeal. I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. If not in the state courts, in the federal courts, it's going to get overturned. But what the prosecutors are looking for is the right now. We need him to be guilty right now before the votes are cast. But it's the same with Fonnie Willis in Atlanta. They don't give a damn what you did. They're going to vote for you. They don't. People say, oh, yeah, if he's found guilty. Why does 12 people in a courtroom, what they have to do with how you're going to vote, your political life? Because I've seen cases where 12 people, I've seen a recent case, it was 3 separate trials in Houston, in Texas. And the jury went different ways each time. So, I mean, it's just a matter of the 12 people that's in that box at that time. You get a different 12 people, they may have a different outcome, and so on and so forth. So, how you vote should be determined how, 12 people, this set of 12 people, thought process is. I mean, you're going to vote how you're going to vote. But my thing with his wife, this is my issue with his wife and his daughter. Right now, you need all hands on deck. Everybody should be at the courthouse right now to show unity, to show support. Now, I get it. Maybe the wife didn't want to. Maybe she didn't want to be there. She didn't want to hear the details of how her husband was straddled out on the bed. She said, we need Joe in here to lighten him. Let me get Joe on the line. Let me see. Joe, where you at? Let me text him right quick. But yeah, my thing is, you never know. Juries, they are human beings. I think we have 7 men on the jury, 7 men and 6 women. And you just never, anything can help. You might have people on the jury, one of the men, they may be fans of his daughter. They may be fans of his wife. Now, you don't need to have them there for the salacious details of Stormy Daniels. They said Trump was in there with Stormy and Karen McDougal at the same time. Come on now. I said not at the same time. He ain't got that much. Who in here Trump age? You can't have that much energy. Ain't that? I need to stop. I really need to stop. But I know it ain't that much Viagra and honey packs in the world. Let me see where he at. I might actually have to do a story of Nathan Wade. I know he did his little second interview. That's what I'm gonna have to do my topic. Nathan Honeypack Wade. Somebody say, what's a honey pack? Oh man, but even if his wife didn't want to hear the details, she could have been there today. Today was just simple jury instructions. It's just a boring process where the judge have to instruct the jury on what the law is and what the law is not. And I'm sure he had his hands full because New York don't even know what the law is and what it's not. Because that's so random to say, as long as you agree that he committed another crime, it don't matter what crime. Pick a crime. Pick one. Pick one out the hat. But the jury instructions is just that. It's just the reading of a document. So his wife and his daughter could have been there for that. Put your, his wife, put your sunglasses on and walk up in there and sit down. You know who you was married to. You know who you married. Somebody ain't gonna like that. You know what you signed up for. I mean, it looks good for the jury when it's unity. I done had trials. Oh my goodness, and no family would show up. And I'll tell my client, like, where your family at? Nobody's sitting behind us because they probably don't know what their family, they probably don't know what their family to know what they were accused of because they know they weren't raised like that. So I get it. It can be embarrassing, depends on what the charge is. But then on the other side, the prosecutors, you have the prosecutors and all of their officers sitting in the courtroom and your side bone dry. So it really helps to bring in the family. And who knows? Maybe she wanted to come. Maybe Trump told her, hell no. To the no. You don't need to be hearing all of that. And a wife, she know her husband. She probably say, yeah, his ass did it. And even so, that's not why he's on. That's not why he's on trial. Whether he did it or not is irrelevant. Even though he's saying he didn't do it, he said, I ain't mess with that. Ooh, almost. He said he ain't mess with her. I said I was going to be good since it's still daytime. Stormy said that she messed with that man. You never know. Stormy, she probably did climb in that man bed. Somebody said hoes like hoes. Oh. Y'all can't mind me. I mean, the issue is Stormy supposedly was messing with Trump while his wife had just had a baby and was at the house. So obviously he can't admit to that. And even his other little girlfriend, Karen, she even took a form. She was like, hey, hold on. Trump was with me the whole time. He ain't had time to sneak out with no damn Stormy. In other words, she said, hey, when he ain't with his wife, Karen McDougal said, that's my man, Stormy. And I'll be damned if you get on here and lie and try to take my credit. But on the opposite end of that, it can look bad. It can look like, because Trump said he didn't do it. But if his wife doesn't show up, it's gonna look like, it could look like that she think he did it, and that's why she's not going to support his ass. Anybody agree with that? Do y'all think the wife Should have shown up to sway one of the male jurors. Coming there, show him a little leg. And they say she used to model, so she know how to do it. Give him that eye contact. And tell him, don't you lock my husband up. Let me see. I was still trying to see if Joe was going to pop in the chat. Or even come up. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's her decision. Who knows? Like, I don't know what this woman thinking. Hell, what if she want him to go to jail? Wouldn't that be an interesting topic? Yeah, what if she wanted? She probably said, hey, I don't want to go through another damn 4 years taking pictures, hanging up Christmas trees, walking around the White House. She said, I'm tired of that bullshit. She said, I'm tired of that. She said, lock him up so she can find a reason to divorce him so she can get her a new man. Probably one she really liked. Y'all didn't hear that from me. Y'all didn't hear that one from me. Let me see what she said. Oh, hey, good afternoon. She is not there because she is done with this bid, as she firmly believes he will be home later. Oh, okay. That's an interesting take. So she's saying that he coming home. She know he coming home. No matter what happens. Hell, the judge pretty much said in so many words that when Trump's lawyer said, hey, you know, y'all don't send Trump to jail because Michael Cohen's lying, the judge told the jury, like, hey, jail is not mandatory. That decision is going to be up to me. Pretty much meaning that jail is not mandatory. Trump can get probation. So even the judge is telling the jury, which I don't know if that's going to help Trump, because Trump don't want to be found guilty. Even if y'all find him guilty, he might not even go to jail. That's going to be up to me. But see, in Texas, we can pick. I know I've said this before. We can pick who we want to punish our client. We can say we want the judge to punish him, or we want the jury to punish him. So that's one of the unique things about Texas that I really like, because the judge really can, you know, it's a trial going on in Atlanta, a YSL trial. Half the time the judge not even paying attention. Most of the time he outside walking his damn dog. See, the case where the judge doesn't have to decide punishment, you really don't really need them there like that. Like they're there. Because they're not deciding guilt or innocence, and they're not deciding punishment. So if the jury's going to decide if he's guilty or not, and if the jury's going to pick the punishment, yeah, what we need the judge for? Judge, go home. Go walk your damn dog. Let me see. Was that Karen girl a witness? No, they didn't call her because Karen was, I watched one of her interviews from a few years ago. She was Team Trump. Yeah, she probably thought she was going to be his next wife, low key. She was lost all. She was wrapped up in the game. She even got mad because after Trump allegedly messed with her the first time, he tried to pay her. And she like, you know, why are you trying to pay me? And, you know, like, because he paying you to leave. Hell, he don't want no problems. Of course he gonna pay you. And then I think she was working in Playboy or something like that. So I'm sure, let me see if he responded. So I'm sure he thought that, hey, this is a, oh, okay. I'm sure he thought that this was an arrangement. You know, we mess around. You look way too good to be with me. Yeah, hell, you what? 30 years younger than me. I thought I was supposed to pay. Michelle said she don't want him to go to jail. She is not done spending money and will not be going to work anytime soon. Oh yeah, sure not. And what type of work would she do? Because I'm thinking before she got with him, wasn't she like a model? I'm not saying she can't be a model now, but you know, that time probably came and went. Maybe she can, you know, write books. But you gotta remember, even if Trump, he don't make money by being the president. I think they get 400,000 a year. That ain't where his money coming from the properties and the stuff he owns. So even if he's in jail, the business is still going to be, ran right. He got kids, and I think the kids do most of the legwork now. So that's she gonna still get that money. I'm torn on if I feel Melania should have shown up. I agree with you on the unity thing, but okay, we got a but. And I'm saying not show up to the trial. I'm saying show up today when they were reading the jury instructions. It's nothing salacious. You don't have to see any other. You don't have to see Stormy in there, looking at you like, yeah, I slept with your husband. None of that. All that's gone. The circus left town. It's just legalese. One last time the jury can look at the crowd before they come back out with a verdict. So chances are you won't see the jury again until it's time for a verdict. So anybody he bring now is just going to be looking at themselves, paying you to leave. He's like, hell yeah, I got a wife at home, man. She just had a baby. Woman, if you don't go on somewhere, and don't tell nobody like Stormy did. Damn, I paid you and you still told. Somebody said you shouldn't have did it. You should have kept your married tail at the house. Karen liked the money she received allegedly and is going to behave to get more. This is true. I mean, she shopped that story around. I think Karen got the most. Karen ended up getting $150,000. Stormy Daniels got $130,000, and the doorman, the supposed doorman that knows Trump has a secret baby out there in the world, the doorman only got $30,000. So I said, if anybody should have been in that courtroom, it should have been a goddamn doorman. I would have been mad as hell. How the hell I get $30,000 and I know where the love child at? I know where your secret baby at. I done seen it. I done seen the baby. And I only get $30,000. But who else? Stormy gets $130 and Karen gets $150. That's why you don't take the first offer, doorman. I do civil cases as well where I sue insurance companies, and they always try to get you to take the low offer. We're not taking no low offer. You ain't got to worry about that. And they say, well, okay. He said he got to fly out tomorrow, so he might jump on. Joe might jump on. Yeah. Well, jump on in. Let's see. Yeah, you don't never take the first offer. Let me wrap that conversation up because it's always more money later. Sometimes you have to file a lawsuit, and they don't want you to do that because when we file lawsuits, it's expensive. And as attorneys, we have to front those fees. So, it don't bother me. When I first started practicing law in the civil side, I used to argue with the insurance companies back and forth. I don't do that anymore. I just file a lawsuit. Just file it. I tell my office, file it, and we'll let the courts figure it out. And sure enough, sooner or later, that money's going to come in. And we're going to get that, it just depends, 35%, 40, 45, it just depends on the case. So sometimes we just got to wait. So Dorman, if you would have waited, instead of getting 30, you would have had 130, probably would have had 200. You knew what a child was. And that's a story I'm sure he didn't want getting out, not only to the world, but to his wife. She could be an ambassador. They don't need much education. It's about diplomacy. This is true. I mean, they're not really making decisions. They just, a mouthpiece for the U.S., for the president. So you don't really have to have much, to do that. So I agree with that. But at the same time, that's limited. So you want job security. An ambassador, you serve at the pleasure of the president. So, how long that's going to last? Until the president get mad at you, or until something happens, or until he, voted out of office, or term limit out of office, he can't run again. Since Trump was running for president, how would state election laws apply since he wasn't running for a state office? Well, that's the issue, and that's what the world wants to know. I mean, you're saying that Trump violated campaign law, federal campaign law, state campaign law, but you're not required to prove it. So that's an issue, and I'm not sure how the campaign laws work in New York. And even if you're running a federal election, you still have to go through the state to get on the ballot. So I can see how they can try to tie that in. Actually, Trump recently sued, I believe, the state of Colorado, because the state of Colorado was trying to keep Trump off of the ballot. And the Supreme Court ruled unanimously 9-0 that Colorado, you cannot keep Trump off the ballot. So you have to go through the state in order to get on the federal ballot. So I'm thinking that's how the prosecutors are trying to allege state campaign violations, but it's still a stretch. It's a huge stretch. And I had told somebody recently, they stretching so hard. There's not this much stretching in the winter and the summer Olympics combined. Ain't that much stretching? It's not. You can't stretch that far. Now, if you want to say, hey, Trump, he paid a woman because he didn't want it getting out, that's an argument I can live with. But if you say, hey, he paid a woman and he did this with the intent on circumventing campaign election law, that don't sound logical to me, that he did it with that intent in mind. He's not thinking that far down the road of, oh, hey, Michael Cohen, you can't, because this is what happened. Michael Cohen allegedly gave his own money to Stormy Daniels, and he wanted Trump to pay him back. But they said when Michael Cohen gave his own money to Stormy Daniels, he loaned Trump. He loaned him that money. And he's giving him a loan for campaign, for a campaign donation. And he didn't report that donation. Like, what? He didn't do it for, the high that he was receiving a legal donation from Michael Cohen. Hell, Michael Cohen allegedly did pay Stormy on his own behalf, and he wanted to get the money back from Trump. And supposedly, not supposedly, because Michael Cohen admitted it, that not only did Michael Cohen get his money back, he stole from Trump. He stole thousands for Trump. In the same transaction, the same checks Trump was writing to Michael told him to write those checks for more. And it really wasn't supposed to be for more. And Michael Cohen ran off with, I think it was between 30 to 60 grand of free money. And Even though Trump's a billionaire, allegedly, he don't want to. People that got money don't like giving away money. They real frugal, and there's no way in hell I believe that Trump would have willingly and knowingly been robbed. Consent to being robbed by his own lawyer. So your own lawyer was stealing from you. Your own lawyer was secretly recording you. Your own lawyer was the one that told you to do all of this. If y'all listen to the tape, and I might even go and play it, Trump was asking Cohen. Cohen was like, Trump didn't understand what was going on. He was asking Cohen, and Cohen was telling Trump what to do, which is how it works. Trump is a lay person. He's not a lawyer. He doesn't have a law license on the wall. He don't know nothing about the law. He's listening to what his lawyer is telling him to do. So I can understand why Trump is upset with his lawyer, because his lawyer, his ex-lawyer, really caused all of this. If, like Joe say, less than 5 minutes ain't cheating, and less than $500,000 shouldn't be a crime. Well, if less than 5 minutes not cheating, then I'm assuming from here on out, Trump will have a blank check. So if he can make it to 5, he'll sure shock the hell out of me. Somebody ain't gonna like that. Somebody ain't gonna like that. Oh man, I'm gonna see if I can find that tape, and I'm just on here, just killing time while we wait for the jury to do their own thing. So I know, some of y'all can't stay, y'all popping in and out, and that's fine. I'm just gonna hang around for a little bit just to see if we get a verdict. Will a verdict happen so quickly? I doubt it. Could it happen? Of course. Even so, when the prosecutor, he went 5 hours after the defense lawyer went 3 hours. So it was 8 hours yesterday. And the prosecutor asked the jury, do y'all need a break? And they're like, no, we don't need a break. Finish up, wrap it up. Tell us what you need to tell us so we can go back there and do our jobs. We already know which way we're going to vote. So no, we don't want no break. Wrap it up. And sometimes you can just tell if the jurors if their arms are crossed and they looking at you in a negative way, okay, and now they're blocking you off, they're tired of you. I've seen this happen so many times with prosecutors, and you don't correct your opponent when they're making a mistake. And I had a lawyer after one of my trials, after it was over with, when they went back to deliberate, he came up to me, he said, I believe you got this one. I believe you won this one. He said four of them was crossing their arms, and one of them rolled their eyes at me. I said, yeah, you talk too long. I said, you overplayed your hand, even though your case was already lost anyway. You overplayed your hand. And now he don't even be speaking to me like that. Why you stop speaking to me, prosecutor? I know you lost 2 trials to me, but that's work for us. As far as the lawyers, we don't hate each other and scream and cuss each other out because of one client. We have to keep working with these people over and over again. So you don't want to intentionally cause a negative relationship if you don't have to. So sometimes your clients may not agree with you, speaking to the prosecutors because they see them as a sworn enemy. It's just natural in the course of working. But the thing is, you don't get too close to them because you still have a job to do, and you don't want to cross the line to where you can't use your independent judgment. Yeah, I can speak to you, but at the same time, for my client, I'm going to war. When it's war, it's war. Now, after the trial over with, it's peace. Let me see if I can find that tape. Anybody want to hear that tape? What do they call it? What's the title they got? The Access Hollywood tape. Man, why is Joe not getting on? Let me see. He's probably like, hey, I got a life. I didn't know you was gonna sit up there and go live in the middle of the day. Let me see. Let me find this video. Okay, Trump. What? Trump access tape. And I believe this tape was played. Let me see. Trump. All right. I texted Joe. We might can get Joe to get in here. Let me see. Trump. All right. I believe they played the Access Hollywood tape in court a couple of no, well, maybe they didn't play the tape because they said the tape was too prejudicial, so they showed them a transcript. Let me see. Trump reported. Now, most of these videos are like 12 and 13 minutes long. I need to hear the tea. I don't need to hear the. Oh. All right, let me see if I can share my screen. Present, share screen, share screen. Let's see. Let's see if this will work.
Of former President Trump appearing to show off secret documents he did not declassify.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, no, that's not the one. Well, we can listen to this.
This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret.
The conversation with aides and two people working on a.
All right, hold on, y'all. That ain't the tape I want to. That ain't the one I want to show. Let me see. That ain't the one I want to play. Does the length of the deliberation mean anything typically? Not necessarily. I remember my very first trial, the jury came back in under 10 minutes. And it was a serious trial because my client was facing 25 to life. So I already knew, which is why my first trial, it's crazy going back and looking at it, 25 to life. And they came back in under 10 minutes. And that was a good indication for me because by the time me and my assistants were making it out to the car, putting everything in, getting ready to go eat, you know, they said, hey, we got a verdict. And we turned right back around. And that was an indication for me that it was a not guilty. I mean, even when I went in the courtroom, the prosecutors, they were like, okay, yeah, you got this one. Because it was just way too fast. You're not going to send nobody to prison or convict nobody that fast. But you would send somebody home that fast, right? And so that makes sense. But as far as I had another trial, and they went for about an hour. I was confident that we were going to get a not guilty verdict, but you can never be 100% certain. But I wonder what took the jury so long to deliberate, because the evidence really spoke for itself. And after the case was over with, the lawyers, we went to the back to talk to the jury and to get their insights. You always want to get their insights when you can for your next trial. Hey, what did I do good? What did I do bad? What took y'all so long? And they were like, it wasn't that they didn't have a decision, but it was 12 people. So everybody wanted to talk and share their points of view. So for one topic, somebody may talk 5-10 minutes, and you got 12 people in the room. So it's going to take time to go around to everybody to figure out why we should vote, which way. And they were like, yeah, we knew that, your client was not guilty because of this, this, and this. And they even thought of stuff that I didn't think of, which made sense. And I was like, oh, that would have been, perfect if I would have blew up that picture or made that picture bigger and focus on that instead of that. So I don't think a time really is, indicative of, which way they're leaning. You just got a lot of people in the room. The question is, if we have a hung jury, will the holdouts be strong enough not to cave under pressure? So let's say 12 people. Let's say 10 are thinking guilty, 2 are saying not guilty. Will that 2 succumb to the pressure of the 10? Will that 10 back them into a corner and say, look, it's 10 of us, it's 2 of y'all. We're not changing our mind. So, what y'all going to do? And if you have this is why jury selection is so important. If you have someone that's strong-willed and they really believe in what they believe in, and they say, hey, I don't care if it's me by myself. It can be 11-1. I'm not changing my mind. And then they may say, well, we're going to be stuck in this room. You know what I'll tell them? Get comfortable. Call your daycare and tell them that little Susie going to be staying extra today. Little Susie going to be staying tonight. Because I'm not going to be pressured into sending someone to prison if I don't agree with the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't care how much y'all yell. Sometimes jurors, they may yell, raise their voice. They may, slam their fist on the table to try to pressure other jurors into changing their minds. And as a lawyer, let's say it's 10 guilty, 2 not guilty. You want to give your side, which you're, as a defense attorney, you want to give your side, the 2 not guilties, as much tools to be able to battle against 10 people. You got to give them an arsenal. You got to give them their weapons. You might ask, what do you mean by weapons? You want to be able to give them the facts of the case to defend their position. So if you say, if the 10 people back the 2 into a corner and say, why do you think this? As a lawyer, you have already gave those 2 people the answer as to why they think he is not guilty. So they can articulate that to the 10. And guess what? When they articulate that, because the lawyer gave them the answer to that question in advance during the trial, during closing statements, closing arguments, now it may go from 10 to 2. 2 people might come over to the other 2 people's side. Now it's going to go from 10-2 to 8-4. And then those other 2 might bring 2 with them. And next thing you know, it's 6-6. And as they argue more and more, you might get more people to your side to get a not guilty altogether. Or they may say, hey, judge, we tried, we're deadlocked. We done all we can do, and we won't be able to agree. Now, if they do that today, the judge is going to say, okay, go home, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is, what's tomorrow? The days are starting to run together. Thursday. Y'all gonna work all day Thursday. If y'all don't do it Thursday, come back Friday. Now, if they go all day Friday and they can't agree, then I think Monday he will have no choice but to declare a mistrial. I mean, because at that point you're wasting time. And a mistrial doesn't mean that, you know, Trump gets to walk away scot-free. The prosecutors can retry him, but that's not what they want. They want to get him right now before the election. That's my opinion. You know, retrying him, it's going to be old by then. He's going to have more cases. It's going to be boring. Nobody's going to want to pay attention to this no more. They're going to lose their momentum. Let me see. Did Stormy Daniels ever pay Trump the $300K in fees for the defamation case? She hasn't paid him, and she said flat out that she's not going to pay him. Even though the judge ordered her to pay, she said, I'm not going to pay. And I think it's much higher than that. Let me see. I think it's much higher than, how much does Stormy owe Trump? I think it's way higher than $300K. Let's see. Let me see, Stormy, how much you owe? I think it's 560. Maybe it started off at 300, but the interest and stuff now just push it over the top. But I'm showing 560, and she's defiant. To the end, she said, "Hey, she'll go to jail." Okay, she was questioned about that. She re-asked the question confirming Stormy Daniels owes a former president about $560 in legal fees. And she says that California, there's a 10% interest. Okay. Okay. And Trump's lawyer asked her, you have the money, right? And Daniels said, we all have money. You're choosing not to pay President Trump, right? She said, I've chosen not to pay while it's still pending. Yes. Let's see. Okay, she even said she would go to jail before she paid Trump. She said, I will go to jail before I pay a penny. She posted this around the time the Court of Appeals ordered her to pay. So it's not pending. The Court of Appeals told you to pay it. That is me saying I would not pay for telling the truth. Man, come on, come on, come on. Now, anybody else just tell the court they're not going to pay, they're going to be held in contempt. See? I think whatever the attorneys on the jury say, everyone will go along with because their attorney is right or wrong. So the question will be, see, I'm not sure how New York did they deliberation. Did they do it all in one day? Did they pick like two people? I think it was separate days. Did you get two people one day? And then the next day you get a new group and you pick from that pile, you pick from that pile. So maybe they don't even know what each other, you know, does for a living. So, oh, look at Joe in the building. Shout out to get him, Joe. Shout out to Joe. Joe, you ain't really missing it. We just trying to figure out what's that. Y'all know that song that say, I wanna know. That's all we're trying to figure out, Joe. We want to know. As a matter of fact, the man that sing that song name is Joe. I want to know what makes her smile. I want to know. Let me see if I can find that. I want to know. I ain't gonna play the music. That's why we just want to know, is Trump gonna go to jail or not, guilty or not? Let's go to this right quick. That's all we're trying to figure out. And we just really just killing time, while the jury deliberates. We're trying to figure out, how they going, what's their thought process? Like, what are y'all thinking? Let's get into the minds of the jury. What do y'all think about this case? Y'all remember this guy? His name Joe. I want to know. Joe. That's all we're trying to figure out. It's amazing how you knock me off my feet. He said, I want to know. And then that's what his Trump's wife, she say she want to know what turns Trump on. So she can be all that and more. She want to know what makes him cry so she can be the one who always makes him smile. She say, I don't need no porn star making my husband smile. She say, I got that. She said, I got that. That's what she's saying. I said, love that song. Somebody, hey, I didn't think y'all knew what I was talking about. I know y'all from different parts of the country. Say, maybe they don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, man. I think what I was going to do, I was going to find that, let me see, the Access Hollywood tape between Trump and his old lawyer. And that tape, it to me, it seemed like Trump really don't know what's going on. It sounded like Trump said, I wanted to pay cash. Let me see. Trump said, I want to pay cash. And his lawyer's like, no, not cash. He said, it sounded like he said, we're going to finance it. And Trump was like, what do you mean finance? What do you mean finance? Just pay her one and done. One and done. We ain't got to be making no down payments. I can just write the check. I can give her cash. Like Fonnie Willis say, I paid them in cash. Well, at least Fonnie was smart on that. She said, I paid them in cash. Y'all ain't gonna accuse me of writing no fake checks and fake ledgers because I did it all in cash. But what she did say is Nathan Wade gave us some of that money back in cash. He gave us some money back in cash. She said, you want to know, Joe? Somebody say, That's all we trying to figure out. We want to know, Joe. Joe, what's your thoughts with this Trump situation? Do you think that he was a minute man and he was in there in the bed with Stormy Daniels? Do you think he really did that? Do you think that Stormy Daniels made it all up? And let's, she described what the house looked like, or what it looked like. Just because you know what it looked like, don't mean that you was getting it on. That songwriter say, "Let's get it on." That don't mean y'all was getting it on. I will say I agree with that. I will say I agree. And see, Stormy, she got it mixed up. She think that because she do this for a living, she tipping and dipping in the midnight hour with a married man like Fonnie Willis, and they said it wasn't her husband. We know it wasn't her husband because it was Melania's husband. It was Jocelyn Wade's husband, Fonnie. I had to go to a wedding, and I was like, man, I hope I don't have to go through Atlanta because I don't need Fonnie and her goons waiting on me at the airport. And luckily, we didn't even have to go there. We went to, I think, some North Carolina type of airport because it wasn't a direct flight. Oh, man. Okay. Let me see. Trump. Why nobody got the tape? Okay, I think this is it. Let's try this. Let's try this link. Let me see. Okay, here we go. I think I found one. Let's see. All right, so this is a tape between Trump and his old lawyer.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So no. I got.
All right, let's listen to that again. Okay, so Trump asking him. Trump is saying, "What financing?" Trump saying, "Wait a minute, what financing? I want to pay in cash." Let's see if we can run that back one more time, especially at the end. He said, "I want to pay him in cash." Let's see. Let me go back and see if we can play it one more.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info.
All right, so starting off, Michael Cohen, Trump's ex-lawyer, is the one talking about opening up some random company.
Regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff.
But and listen, Trump's lawyer said, I spoke to somebody else about how to set the whole thing up, making it seem like it's his whole idea. And just for a brief side note, look how Michael looking. Look how he looking behind Trump. He look like he know damn good. Sneaky bastard. Oh, let me finish this video. Let me finish this recording.
All the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know what he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
Don't pay for cash.
no. I got.
So okay, so at the end. So at the end, Trump asked him, what financing? And Trump said, what financing? And he's like, I can just pay him in cash. And Michael said, no. Well, that was actually the smartest thing that could have happened. And that way you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have none of this mess. You wouldn't have any fake checks that supposedly was for legal expenses, but they weren't really legal expenses. They were for to cover up this Stormy situation. And then you wouldn't have to have the fake ledgers. And even the ledgers, I believe the accountants came in and said, Trump doesn't classify things as legal expenses. He doesn't do that. The accounting department does that. We classify what payments are for. So that's another issue for the prosecutors. So did Trump really classify the ledgers? No. Okay. You might can say he signed the checks, or even if he signed the checks, did he do that with the intent of committing another crime? Let me see. Remember that Jerry Springer got caught by paying for a prostitute with a check. Trump like, I ain't going out like that. Right. See, and I believe all of this was new to Trump. So, he was used to paying cash. Anytime he went to the, what is it called? What is the Bunny Ranch? The Playboy Ranch? Messing around with the models on what is it, Miss America or whatever he used to host. He was used to paying cash, but he didn't let silly ass Michael talk him into paying by a check. And then if the girls had any sense, they wouldn't have accepted no check. Imagine going up to a local, I don't know if you could say prostitute, and try to give him a check. They're gonna look at you like a goddamn fool. They're like, you gotta put that, if you don't put that cash on the dresser, pull out the cash and hold it in your hand, because first of all, they gotta make sure you even got some money. Let's tell it. If we're gonna tell it, let's tell it all. Nathan K. The jury will probably say he is guilty, since there are groups that would dox the jurors, or worse, if Trump is declared innocent, similar to the journalists following the jury during the Rittenhouse case. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but couldn't that go both ways, though? Matter of fact, I even think the opposite of what you're saying, personally, because I believe that some of his supporters are crazier than Cat, S-H-I-T. So if he's found guilty, I'd be more concerned with all of his psycho supporters coming after me. I mean, we already saw what one dude did to himself. We already know he lit himself on F-I-R-E. I don't want YouTube to restrict the video. Hell, after all I done said, they probably gonna have to do that anyway. But yeah, so these people out here are crazy. I mean, let's not forget January 6th, when you had all of them out there. They stormed the building But when they got into the building, like, okay, now what do we do? Y'all sitting in an empty building. Yeah, we in the building, but we can't make any laws. So we don't have any power over the military. We don't have any power over the money. We just standing in some empty hallways on video footage that's going to be used later in our criminal trials. Now, if he's elected president again, will he pardon those people? I think so. Because at that point, he has nothing to lose. It's not like he gets to run for president again. They're going to vote him out of office if he pardons these people. So I'm sure he's going to pardon a whole lot of folks. Yeah, so it's wild, but I believe that this whole idea and plan came from Michael. Michael wanted to impress Trump so bad that he was willing to go above and beyond. He was willing to risk everything. But see, I don't think Michael, he didn't see the relationship the way Trump saw the relationship. He was thinking that, hey, if I do all this for Trump's going to appoint me attorney general or maybe chief of staff or a wild card, put me on the Supreme Court, if I do all these things for Trump. But Trump knew Michael wasn't no damn good. He only kept Michael around to do the things that the other lawyers that had sense wouldn't do. And Michael is so mad that he lost everything. He's a convicted felon. He lost his bar card. He was disbarred. Can't practice law anymore. But the thing is, do you feel sorry for him when he know that some of the stuff he brought on himself, like you were secretly recording the client. Like, for what purpose are you secretly recording your own client? Like, what good reason could you explain why you did that without your client knowing, unless you was using that against him in the future? Were you trying to blackmail him? You admitted in this trial that you were stealing from him, that you stole from him. So you can't say, hey, Trump put me up to do all this stuff. Trump didn't give me a big enough bonus, so I wrote my own bonus. Now imagine how ridiculous that sounds. A cashier at McDonald's. McDonald's, they didn't give me a big bonus, so I'm going to pop open the cash register and take out my own bonus. You're going to jail if you do that. So I believe that Michael brought a lot of this on himself. You can't let clients pressure you to do stuff that you know is not ethical or within the rules of professional conduct and responsibility. Or, stuff that's illegal. Hello? How the hell are you going to help your client out if you sit in jail with him, Michael? How are you going to help him out if you lose your license? If a client asks you to do something illegal or something that's against the rules or unethical, you tell them, hell no. And they may say, well, my friend, he had a lawyer and that lawyer did it for him. Well, you better go hire that lawyer. If your friend's lawyer play those type of games, you better go over there. But as for me and my house, as for me and my office, we ain't going for it. Let me see. How long y'all think the jury's been deliberating now? Have they broke for lunch? Let's see. Now, they calling out. No, Let me take a day off. Let me send them to my assistant. She can answer. Golly, let me take some time off. This is historic. We got a former president and a potential future president on trial for the very first time in the United States of America. How they said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Are we still united? Or somebody say we more divided than ever? We still telling that lie? We still saying we united? Yeah, we united geographically. Yeah, we united on paper. Yeah, we united by statutes and the Constitution. Yeah, all of that good stuff. But as a country, some say we more divided than ever. Carol said, I don't feel sorry for Cohen. The client should be able to tell the attorney anything, and I agree. Because you got to think about it when a client comes to see a attorney, they're not coming to see you because they're having the best day of their life. They're not coming to see you just for fun. They coming to you because they're having a serious issue. And a lot of times it's like going to a doctor's office. When you go to a doctor's office, you're not going to the doctor, just because you're having an issue. Now, imagine if your doctor secretly records you and, you're sick or you have an issue, you have a problem. You go see a lawyer, you have a problem. Someone's trying to, take your freedom away, lock you up. Someone's trying to take your kids away, custody. Your spouse is trying to run off with all of the things that you work hard for. And the very person you went to is secretly recording you and stealing from you. Oh man, you is wild. You wild. So I believe that he brought it on himself. Because at the end of the day, the client is the client. And people got to remember, Trump wasn't president when all this happened at the time. So, and some people might say, oh, that's Trump. He knows everything. He has a lot of money. No. If he knew everything, he wouldn't have to hire these people to do it for him. Cohen was a professional in the room. Cohen was the expert. And Cohen was the one that effed up. Somebody said the church's money. He said, I want to know what would make her pay. Pay like she weighed. Now that's lead attorney. That's his area over there. He know all about the family law. I did one family law case. And they worried the hell out of me. I said, oh, they ain't gotta ever worry about me taking another one again. This is when I was first starting off. You don't have to see what they say when you first start off and you open your own law firm. You what they call a door lawyer. You're not a family law lawyer. You're not a criminal defense lawyer. You're not a personal injury lawyer, workers' comp. You're a door lawyer. Somebody say, what's a door? DOOR, lawyer. Somebody know what that is? A DOOR, a door that you walk through. Somebody know what that is? Come on, somebody know. Somebody know. All right, I'll tell y'all. I'll tell y'all. A door lawyer is when you first start off, it's whatever walks through the door. Whoever got some money. Oh, there you go. Whoever got some money, I don't care what type of damn case it is. See, we're not like doctors. We don't have to have a specialty. We can do any law, any field. You know, yeah, there you go. Open to any client. Just hang your shingle up and say, I'm open. What y'all got? What y'all got? Y'all got some money? If y'all got some money, hey, we can talk. And what ended up happening is by the time you're having a consultation, even if they don't got some money, they gonna sit there and talk. And then what some of them will do, they'll try to see what you know, find out everything you know, and then go take it to another lawyer. I said, boy, I'd have cuss them out. So you got a lot of that early on. Early on. I just had a call a couple of weeks ago, and you know they were asking me this and that and how much I charge, you know, the whole nine. Are we gonna get the money, this and that? You know, I'm over that, you know, good, you know, talk to my office and get y'all going. Then they called back. I said, okay, this is interesting. And they said, you really think we should go with you? You think because we don't want him to go to prison. You think we should hire a white lawyer? He's already been to prison 3 times and we don't need him going back. So you think we should take your advice and hire a white lawyer? And I told him it's up to you. It's up to your preference. You know, it's your personal preference. But I said, he's been to prison 3 times already? She said, yeah. I said, what color was the lawyer? He said they were all white. Oh, okay, so they're all white, and he been to prison each and every time. But you gonna come question me saying, hey, you don't want to go to prison with me, so you think you should hire a white lawyer? Make it make sense. Now don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that, you know, there's nothing wrong with hiring a white lawyer. You can hire who you want to hire, because I ain't seen good and bad lawyers of all, you know, different races. But it was just the way that someone would try to come over here and play with you. And one thing I found out, if y'all go to a lawyer and he tell y'all that's his price, if y'all ever need a lawyer in the future, don't try to negotiate with that lawyer. Because even if he goes down from his price, which I don't, but even if that lawyer does, he may not give 100% of his effort because he or she feels like you're not paying them 100% what they worth. So that's gonna hurt you in the end. So if a lawyer tells you a price and you say, "Hey, that's too much," or just find somebody else. That's free game. Find somebody else. You're gonna be setting yourself up. because they take your little money and they don't do no work, then you stuck anyway. He got too much money. He took a rhino pill. Wait, what is that? What's a rhino pill? Anybody know what a rhino pill is? Wait, he laughing. Wait, did I say? Wait, did I read something? Wait, am I missing something? A rhino pill. Don't make me Google this. What's a? Anybody have any specific questions about this case or any other case that's going on? That's that's in a topic of discussion. Let me see if there's any updates from. And y'all know Trump, he's still talking mess about the trial. He's still talking mess. He said after the jury went to the back to deliberate, he said Mother Teresa couldn't even beat these charges. He said Mother Teresa couldn't even beat these charges. So he basically saying, hey, if they find me guilty, just know that anybody would have been found guilty in New York. He said this is bigger than Kim K and Ray J back in the day. Hold on. I'm finna find out. Hold on. A rhino pill. See, I'm behind. Somebody knows something I don't know. Let me Google it. Rhino. Oh, I hope it don't pull up nothing crazy on my damn computer. Oh, boy, you need help. So it's like a gas station Viagra. I didn't just Google rhino pills. Anybody else knew what rhino pill was? Oh, so I guess it's like a honey pack. Somebody say Trump wife tired of him. She tired of him. She gotta wait. She ready to go right then and there. She gotta wait for your honey pack to kick in. Hey, baby, can you stop by the store on the way to the house and pick up some of those honey packs? Somebody say keep on living. Somebody say wait till you get this age. You ain't gonna be laughing that much. Oh, yeah. She said she tired. She tired of waiting for him to come home. And if he got this many women on the side, he can't be taking care of the house and all of that. He said he taking them rhino pills and honey packs. He said he ain't going down without a fight. Oh man. Y'all probably think I'm about crazy as hell by now, ain't it? Ain't it? Trump said the charges are rigged. Let me see if I can get some updates so we can figure out what's going on while we sitting here communing and waiting. We waiting and watching to figure out what the verdict gonna be. Do anybody care to say which way they leaning and why? I know we already had a few that already said it, but do y'all think he's gonna be found guilty, not guilty, or hung jury? And just to be clear, you can't vote for a hung jury. A hung jury happens by default. That's when all 12 people cannot agree. And when you get 12 people that can't agree, then it's a hung jury. It doesn't matter if it's 11 on one side and 1 on the other, 11 guilty, 1 not guilty, or 11 not guilty, 1 guilty. If you can't agree, that's a hung jury. So do anybody care to share their opinions as to what they think the verdict will be and why? And I've already said earlier, I'm going with a hung jury first, just because, not based on the evidence, I will say is not guilty. But we got to take into account where we at. We got to take into account we in New York. New York probably saying, hey, we know he's not guilty, but we don't want him as president for another 4 years. And they could think that by finding him guilty would help in that process. Even though I don't think so, me personally. I think people already know which way they're going to vote, no matter what the trial, no matter which way the trial going to go. They can lock Trump up and have him in jail, Rikers Island, and they still would elect this man president if they already leaning his way. And some of these people, based on what they do for a living, and I'm looking at their possible income, I'm thinking it's some hidden Republicans in this group that's saying the opposite, that they don't want Biden in office another 4 years. Some of them scared he may not make it, and they sure don't want Kamala to take over. For the same reason you gave otherwise not guilty, based on not enough evidence. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going based on the law and the facts. And I try to keep all of the outside noise out of it as an attorney. I'm just trying to figure out what the law say. That's all I'm trying to figure out. What does the law say? Does the law say he guilty? And as we already discussed, the law itself is not even clear. Let's see. Let me see. Trump. Let's see if we can pull up a little bit of the. Let me see if we can find. Let me see if I can find the actual indictment itself, so we can see what the other crime is. Or I believe the district attorney, Alvin Bragg, actually released a statement. Man, let me see. Oh, let's see if I can find it. Where the DA said we don't have to prove what the other charge is. All right, let me share. I'm gonna share my screen so we can go and just review what Alvin Bragg, the DA, I'm trying to see if I can make this bigger. Yeah, I know how this computer do. I need to get one that's suited for live streaming. This one got a mind of its own. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So pretty much the DA is saying, we're just gonna skip read. This is when he first announced in April of 2023 what the charges were going to be against Trump. And he basically saying, hey, Trump employed others for a catch and kill scheme to identify, purchase, and bury negative information about him and boost his electoral prospects. Trump then went to great lengths to hide his conduct, causing dozens of false entries in business records to conceal criminal activity, including in attempts to violate state and federal election laws. Somebody asked that question earlier, and there we have it right there. His attempt to violate state and federal election laws. Is this too small? Can y'all see this? Or I need to make it bigger? If I make it too big, I'm not gonna be able to read the full sentence. But that's how I scroll left to right. Okay, the people of the state of New York allege that Donald J. Trump repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to conceal crimes that hid damaging information from the voting public in the 2016 presidential election. He said this was done in New York. Manhattan is home to the country's most significant business market. We cannot allow New York businesses to manipulate their records to cover up criminal conduct. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Was he covering up criminal conduct? What was he really? Or was he paying a woman for her services? Now, if you want to, you can't charge them with prostitution or solicitation because obviously the statute of limitations has expired for that. So you have to upgrade it to a felony. Let's see down here. According to court documents and statements made on the record from August 2015 to December 2017, Trump orchestrated. Okay, so let's stop right there. Didn't we just listen to a tape with Trump and his lawyer? We just listened to a tape with Trump and his lawyer. Who did it sound like was orchestrating? Who was doing the orchestrating? Who was saying what we're going to do? We're going to finance. Trump tried to say, long as paying cash. Michael said, no, 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 no. So was he really orchestrating like they said he was? If I can get this view back right, let's see. Maybe we can find another. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let me just remove myself all the way, and then I'm gonna remove this comment so we can actually see. There we go. And I'm gonna try to make this to where it's readable. Okay, he orchestrated his. I'm gonna try to make it. Orchestrated the catch and kill scheme through a series of payments that he then concealed through months of false business entries. And as we know, it's already been testified to that Trump was not the person that was making these business entries. That was the accounting department. That was not Trump. So the argument can be made. Was Trump writing these false business entries? If the jury says no, then out of the 34 charges he's facing right now, 17 of them go away off the top. Now, of course, if Trump is convicted on half of the 17, that's still just as bad. I mean, he want to be found not guilty on all of them. But I think for certain we can say that, 17 of the counts, half of them has to do with business ledger entries, which it's been testimony that Trump wasn't in charge of the entries. However, Trump is in charge of writing the checks, and he did sign the checks, but they still would have to prove that he signed them with knowledge of knowing that if I sign these checks, I'm signing them with the intent to commit federal and state election campaign violations. So let's go back and see what else. Okay. This is the first time. In one instance, I'm trying to make it as big as I can without scrolling so much. In one instance, American Media Incorporated paid $30,000, just a measly $30,000, to a former Trump Tower doorman who claimed to have a story about a child Trump had out of, I said, get it organized, wedlock. So that's the man. He took the first offer. What did we learn today? Do not take the first offer. If you in a car wreck, it's not legal advice, but hey, my opinion, don't take the first offer. They got some more money they waiting to give you. They just want to see how bad can you wait. They're like, oh no, hey, they need some money. They're gonna take this $5,000, and $5,000 a lot of money that people need right away. But if only you held out, you could have got 20, 30. Let me see, what's this breaking for comment? I still feel like they're going to find him guilty, even though they don't have enough evidence, and Cohen lied and stole. Well, one thing I will say, you've been consistent, since the beginning. I believe in some of my other lives, you said, oh, hey, guilty by association. So let's see. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, let's be clear. I'm not going to play like, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And the jury don't have to follow the law. They can say, yeah, we don't have any proof, but we don't like Trump. And when he was down in New York, he stole. He was biased. He was racist. He called for the Central Park Five to be executed for something that they didn't do. So we don't like him. He needs to go to prison. And all those things may or may not be true, but that's outside the scope of the facts and the evidence of this case. I'm only looking at the facts and the evidence. Now, his other trials, I mean, he still got 3 more trials. Hell, he might have 4 if this one has to start over. The opinions may change. Those other charges, once I analyze those facts in the law, I may have a different opinion of his guilt or innocence. But I'm talking about this specific case based on these facts and the law. Now, obviously, I'm not agreeing with him calling for 5 innocent teenagers to be executed for something that they did not do. And I will also go on to say that it didn't help the fact that the police beat confessions out of these boys. the police beat these boys to what the boys, or at least one of them lied and said that they did do it. So was his article based on the fact that the boys confessed? Did he know that the confession was, false? Did he know that they were beat until they lied and said that they did it just so the beatings would stop? That's why it's important before you start calling for execution. If you're not in that jury room and seeing all the evidence, it's best to stay away from it. And then you won't have to worry about tough topics like these. And then some people can say Joe Biden, he signed this 3 strikes you're out law that sent a lot of minorities to prison. When Joe Biden was a senator, he was pushing that law. So, I mean, there's enough. You can bring in a whole lot of outside stuff. But at the end of the day, the jury has to determine, without bringing all that outside noise in, did he do it? Did he sleep with that woman? Or is she lying? Is she making it up? Is she just trying to get his money? She's trying to get that bag, y'all. So the doorman took his 30 about that Trump had a child out of wedlock. Is that true? Are we going to find out about a secret baby about 10 years from now? In the second instance, AMI, and AMI is a company that Michael Cohen was working with. It's like a newspaper company. The newspaper buys a story, and then the newspaper, they kill the story so nobody else can publish it. Nobody else can talk about it. It goes away. So another instance, AMI paid $150,000 to a woman, Karen McDougal, who alleged she had a sexual relationship with Trump. When Trump explicitly directed a lawyer who then worked for the Trump organization to reimburse AMI in cash, the special counsel indicated to Trump that the payment should be made via a shell company and not by cash. Right there. That's what was on the tape. Let's read that part again. And I'm going back and forth. Hopefully y'all eyes, I'm trying to make it where it's big enough for y'all to read it, but where I can actually see it all and without having to scroll. So maybe I'll make it a little smaller so we don't have to keep rocking and rolling our eyes. Okay, let's go. When Trump explicitly directed lawyer who then worked for the Trump organization, Michael Cohen, to reimburse AMI in cash, the special counsel, Michael Cohen, indicated to Trump that the payment should be made via a shell company and not by cash. So who made that decision? Was that Trump's decision or was that his lawyer's decision? If Trump said, hey, I want to pay her in cash, that takes away the checks and the ledgers. No case. No case. But his lawyer, his silly ass lawyer, just start making up a whole, let's make up all these false companies for what? Do it the right way, sign a non-disclosure agreement, and move on. Even if you did sleep with the woman, Trump, nobody wants somebody talking bad about them. I mean, it's negative publicity. Just pay her. And that's how some companies do. I may sue an insurance company. They may say, hey, my client really was not at fault in that car wreck, but I don't want to go to trial. Going to trial, it's going to cost more money for us to go to trial and hire expert witnesses than just paying your client. So we're going to just pay your client, even though we're not admitting guilt. We just want it to go away. And that's what Trump, essentially did with Stormy. He just wanted it to go away. You're late. You're late. That's the gas station. How you know about that? Let me find out you taking it. Oh man. Don't give me the lie. I'm just talking. You can't mind me. You know I don't know no better. Let's scroll up a little bit more. The AMI, the newspaper company, ultimately declined to accept reimbursement after consulting with their counsel. So the newspaper, the company said, hey, hold up. Our lawyers told us that this illegal. The movie company, AMI, movie company, newspaper company, media. I don't know if it's American media. Yeah, American media. It does all that, which later admitted its conduct was unlawful in the agreement with federal prosecutors, made false entry in its business records concerning the true purpose of the $150,000 payment. So AMI, they made false payments, false statements, false entries in their own business records. But what they do, they took a deal. They took an immunity deal. Like, hey, prosecutors, don't take me to jail. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. I'm going to tell you how the whole thing happened. As long as we have a deal and, you don't prosecute us. But it doesn't say, but eventually, well, we know Karen got her 150. Okay, say they paid it to her, but it doesn't say how AMI got their money back. And I believe AMI got their money back through all of these checks Trump was writing to his lawyer. But what Michael Cohen sneaky tail did, he added in extra money. He added in his own bonus. He told Trump, hey, Trump, I made a donation. I made a donation of $50,000 to this charity. So I need you to, give me my $50,000 back. Come to find out, Michael Cohen only gave him $20,000. He profited an extra $30,000. Not only that, Trump doubled it because of tax purposes. So he got $60,000 of free money from stealing from his own client. Okay, the third instance, 12 days before the presidential general election, the special counsel wired $130,000. Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to an attorney for an adult film actress. So Michael Cohen took it upon himself to give $130,000 of his own money. How you loaning Trump money? Which is an interesting thing right there. That's somebody has to ask the question. Michael Cohen, why did you use your own money to pay Stormy Daniels? Because that kind of makes sense to what Trump's lawyers are saying. Trump's current lawyers are saying Michael Cohen did this on his own because he was trying to impress Trump. He knew Trump was going to possibly win an election, and he knew that if Trump won the election, Trump could elevate him. So Michael Cohen used his own money to pay Stormy Daniels to impress Trump. And then later on, he was going to let Trump know what happened to get his money back. But my thing is, as an attorney, Michael, and Trump supposedly has way more money than you. Why the hell are you spending your own money? Why are you spending your own money? And Trump said, you know why he's spending his own money? Because he was working without my knowledge. He was doing this, and I didn't even tell him to do it. So Trump, and this is part of the deal. Trump, when Michael Cohen made that payment on behalf of Trump, he, in a way, loaned Trump money. He loaned Trump that money, $130,000, and now the prosecutors are saying that loan was a violation of campaign finance law. Michael Cohen should have reported that as a campaign contribution for your election. And you're like, huh? What? Why would he report that as a campaign contribution when this has nothing to do with the campaign itself? Yeah, it's a negative story that will hurt the campaign, but or is the story itself, or we're trying to cover the story up as a basis of winning the election by way of violating campaign, state and federal election laws. So it's like not Michael Cohen, Alvin Bragg. He just threw whatever he could on a wall in his indictment to see what would stick. So down here they have like a chart. And I think we went over this before. So out of the $130,000 payment, 34 counts of falsifying business records, checks, invoices, and general ledger entries. And this the big one. Intent, come on, computer. Intent to commit or conceal another crime, including state and federal election laws, falsifying business records in the first degree. So somebody asked a question, and it was a good question. They got to prove all of this beyond a reasonable doubt. You can prove the payment. You might even can prove the 34 checks and invoices, even though you got to prove the intent of why they was wrote. But right here, number 3 is the big one. Intent to commit or conceal another crime, including state and federal election laws. The prosecutors have not said what this other crime is. And that's when I first started the live earlier. Oh, wait, could y'all see that or no? Oh, I didn't even show you. Oh, the chart's not even pulled up. Let me see. Did y'all not see this chart? Oh, okay, let's go back to it. So as y'all can see on the chart, $130,000 is a payment, 34 counts of falsifying business records, intent to commit or conceal another crime, including state and federal election laws, and falsifying business records in the first degree. So they likely can prove most of this except number 3, intent to commit or conceal another crime, including state and federal election laws. The prosecutors have not shown till this day what is that other crime. What is the other crime that they intended to commit or conceal? I know they just blankly said state and federal election laws. Okay, which state and which federal election laws? And if he did violate state and federal election laws, why didn't y'all charge him with violating state and federal election laws? Oh, okay, hold on. We may have action. Hold on. Wait, what we got here? On X about 25 minutes ago, the Trump jury has raided the courtroom. The Trump team and prosecutors have re-entered the courtroom for unknown reason. Hold on. Let me see if we got some information as to what's going on. They can't be possibly done that fast. Okay, let's see what's going on. I'm gonna share my screen. No, they're not back. What I'm thinking is going on, because sometimes, okay, that's what I was about to say. Sometimes the jury may have questions. They may want to know, hey, what did that one witness say? I remember that witness said something, and then, one juror might say they said this, and then one juror might say, hey, they said that. So what you want to do is get the notes, get the court reporter's notes, the lady or man that's typing the notes of the trial. You want them to read back. I doubt they have if they have a verdict this quick, I'm leaning not guilty, but I doubt it. They probably want to know what what was our song the other day? I want to know by Joe. They probably want to know what somebody said, or they want to see some piece of evidence, maybe watch a video again, listen to a recording again. And sometimes when that happens, you want to bring them back out with the lawyers, so nothing's misquoted. And the lawyers, we can be witnesses to what are you showing them again. The security guard, what they call them, the bailiff, you just don't just come grab something and take it back there to them. We need to know what's going on. And a lot of times by the questions they ask, you can kind of see, what are they trying to figure out. But let me see if I can, okay. Stop share. All right, let me see if I can. Okay, so it's been 4 hours since they started. Okay, it's not surprising. Jurors want some testimony read out as they were only allowed to take notes. The jury is asking for parts of witness testimony to be read out in the courtroom less than 4 hours into the deliberation. The request from jurors includes parts of David Pecker's testimony and some testimony of Michael Cohen. The judge said the jury and the alternates will be brought back into the courtroom soon, where he will read those parts of the transcript. Okay. The court chief legal correspondent Paula Reed said this is not surprising. The jurors did not have transcripts of what was said on the stand, but they were allowed to take notes. Obviously, this case is in many ways is heavily relying on the testimony of witnesses. So we were fully expected that they would come back and ask for additional portions of testimony. Okay. What's happening in the courtroom as we wait for testimony to be read? Trump's attorney, Todd, has been standing behind the defense table, flipping through printed pages of a transcript. Trump's been seated at the defense table too. He's talking with his attorney. Okay, she's speaking. Alina Haba, let them handle it. You're not on this case. You had your chance with the civil case, and now Trump got to pay millions. So Alina Haba, sit this one out. I know you look good on TV, but they say you can't win one case, and you don't even know how to present how to introduce evidence in the courtroom. Oh, let me see what this. Okay, so the prosecutors, they flipping through their transcript. Okay, so we got that. Okay, what is this? One new update. Okay, the jury's request to hear testimony again around the August 2015 meeting at Trump Tower is a natural place to start deliberations. Right, because that's where everything started at. Prosecutors say David Pecker, Donald Trump, and Michael Cohen were all present at that meeting. It's the moment when Pecker allegedly agreed to be the eyes and ears for the Trump campaign and flag any negative stories for Cohen. This is right down the middle of where you want them to be. And if you track the closing argument that we heard from the DA yesterday, he cast that Trump Tower meeting August 2015 as chapter 1 of the whole story. That's where it all started. So it's a perfectly natural, logical place for the jury to start. The jury has been deliberating for more than 4 hours. They got the case Wednesday. Okay. These requests likely suggest the jury is trying to understand Trump's intent. They are trying to figure out what Pecker, Trump, and Cohen talked about, and if Trump knew he was directing or participating in a scheme. The defense previously argued, Trump's lawyers argued, that the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels was carried out by Cohen alone, which what we was just talking about, while the prosecution has been trying to show that Trump knew what was happening the whole time. Okay. So that is an interesting update, and I do thank Texas T for bringing it to my attention. So they want to know. They want to go back to the beginning. And it's interesting that they want testimony from David Pecker, the guy that works for AMI, and Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, because they want to compare testimony. Maybe Michael Cohen said one thing on a witness stand and David Pecker said another thing. Maybe they both said the same thing. And this is what I meant earlier when I say you want the jurors that's on your side, you want them to have all the tools necessary to be able to stand up to the other side, the other jurors that's not on your side. So you want to make sure you bring out all the testimony you can, at the trial, because they will come back and ask questions. I remember, boy, being a lawyer, you just have so many stories. Nothing just really just shocks the conscience of the court, as they say, like an ordinary person. One day, and I'm going to say, in one of my trials, and I work in multiple different counties, so it won't be traced back to a specific person. The court reporter didn't show up at all. Everybody at court, and we waiting. It's at the end. Everybody's tired, ready to go home. Court reporter nowhere to be found. She's a bench, and obviously without a court reporter, you can't do nothing. The court reporter is arguably the most important person in the courtroom, because without them, you cannot do anything. Even if the judge is there and the lawyer is there, you cannot do nothing, because you got to make a record for the appeals court. You got to have a record. The appeals court, they don't watch a video of the trial. The only thing they can go by is what's in the notes, what the court reporter typed. What did you say? What did the other lawyer say? What did the judge say? What did the witness say? So, of course, you got to have a court reporter. The court reporter for our case didn't show up at all. And they were scrambling, boy. The judge was trying to call. They were trying to find a backup court reporter. It was terrible. Eventually, we just, they got a hold of her and trying to figure out what was going on. I think she just had some issues. Somebody said she showed up to court. When she did show up, she was all disheveled. And it looked like she was doing cocaine. Not Cokiana. Golly. And I didn't report her. I mean, you know, everybody had their off days. I'm not gonna cost that woman her job. The judge, she served at the pleasure of the judge. If the judge don't want to judge, you fire her. I'm not gonna you know, report this woman. I don't know what she had going on at home. She could have stayed up all night because she had somebody like Diddy that was attacking her. I don't know. Then to come and find out, she ended up getting another chance, and it was a death penalty case. And since it was a death penalty, I believe, I ain't gonna go too far into the facts of that case, because then it might, you know, give too much detail of who the person is. It was a death penalty case. Guess what? I mean, you had people from it wasn't just the local prosecutor's office. You had people from the attorney general's office of the state. What'd she do? She didn't show up again. She didn't show up again. She got a second chance. And from my understanding, it was more than a second chance. It's been happening. She didn't show up again. So eventually they had to let her go. Because these cases are too important to have a court reporter that's not on it. And I remember when I was doing my closing arguments, and I was like, and if you have any questions, we have a court reporter here that's took down everything. And if we need to, we can come back out and we can listen and we can read the transcripts. Her eyes got so big. And I'm looking like, why your eyes big? What you ain't got the what? What you been typing that whole time? Oh man. Because if anybody seen a court reporter, they don't just type words. The way they type, it's like symbols. Like it's not like words. So if you look at their screen, you won't be able to read it. They have to go in later and translate it so you can figure out what they were saying. So it's not like anybody can do it. The way it was explained to me is they use like vowels and consonants when they type. And that way it makes them type a whole lot faster, because if they try to type how we talk way too fast. There's no way they'll be able to, you know, type all of that. So they take shortcuts and just use syllables. And those syllables, when they go in and translate it and decode it, it'll make up the word that the person had said in court. So let me see. You got any update? Jurors have to decide whether they can convict or acquit on each. As the jury deliberates. If you read this long enough, all the words start going together. The jury has to decide whether it will convict or acquit Donald Trump on each of the 34 different counts he is facing. This means there are multiple possible outcomes. So Laura Coast broke it down for us. Shout out to Laura. Keep breaking it down. A mixed verdict, guilty on some, acquittal on others. That's like I was saying earlier with the 17. They may find him guilty for writing checks, but not for the ledgers. Number 2, guilty on all counts. Number 3, acquittal on all counts. A hung jury on all or some charges. which is, I'm thinking the magic number is going to be 17. Directed verdict. The judge may say that he doesn't think the jury's decision is appropriate and decides on a different outcome. However, the judge is unlikely to do that. So sometimes I get a lot of questions about number 5. Let me see if I can scroll up and make number 5. So what is a directed verdict? A directed verdict is something that us lawyers ask for at the end of trial once all of the evidence is submitted. Now, the only people that can ask for a directed verdict is defense attorneys in criminal trials. Prosecutors cannot ask for a directed verdict in criminal trials. And what I mean by that is, once all of the evidence submitted, the defense attorney goes to the judge and they say, Judge, you heard from all the prosecutor's witnesses. You heard from all of my witnesses. The prosecutors did not meet their burden to establish this crime beyond a reasonable doubt. So the jury should be and must be instructed to acquit the defendant or our client. So basically, you would have to you're asking the judge to tell the jury to render a verdict of not guilty. Like, hey, there's nothing for the jury to decide, Judge. The prosecutors didn't meet their burden, so it should be an automatic verdict of not guilty. A lot of times, this rarely happens. Judges like for juries to decide cases. So most of the time, judges are like, no, I believe there's enough here for a jury to make that determination. I believe there's enough here to send it to the back room. There's enough for the jury to straighten it out. The judge is saying, hey, if you wanted me to decide it, you should have had a trial by judge. But no, you got a trial by jury. So let the jury go to the back room and figure it out. Now, obviously, you might be wondering, why can't the prosecutors ask for a directed verdict? Well, the prosecutors can't ask for a directed verdict because it's a constitutional right to have a trial by jury. So if the prosecutors say, hey, judge, I want you to find the defendant, which is the client, I want you to find them guilty. Don't send it back there to the jury. Judge, I want you to find them guilty. Well, what's the problem with that? Anybody know what the problem with that? If a prosecutor can ask the judge to find somebody guilty single-handedly by yourself, what's the issue with that? Let me see. She said, come on, computer, don't start now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one for live streaming. Why is it? Where'd it go? Okay, she said you have to be on cocaine to type every word. To sit through a whole trial and type. Yeah, I know it. That's a hard job. That is a hard job for for a court reporter. But the issue would be if a judge can single-handedly find someone guilty or not guilty, then it will violate the Constitution of your right to a trial by jury. A trial by jury is for a jury to decide. And that was so important to the founding fathers that's one of the main reasons that they broke away from the crown. They said, hey, the king, all the king horses and all the king men, the king is single-handedly decide who's guilty or not, and all the people that work for him. They say we tired of that. Nope, we want a trial by a jury of your peers. And if they let the judge pick, then we back at square one. A single person is picking the punishment of citizens, which is one of the reasons that this country broke away from the crown. Let me see if I can type this. Let's see if I can pull this up. All right, let's see if I can pull. Come on. I'm trying to pull up the Sixth Amendment right. What is the Sixth Amendment? I'm trying to see if I can pull it up without this computer acting crazy. I'm trying to see if I can summarize it for us, break it down in layman's terms. All right, let's see if I can share. Let's see if I can share this screen. Oh, come on. Oh, and let me know if y'all see any other updates, because it seems like the jury, they moving today. They are moving. They asking questions. They want to see some transcripts. They want to know. What turn them on. Oh, man. Now, the last time I was live and trying to share something, the whole screen just blacked out. I'm still getting all familiar and stuff with all this streaming. It's a lot to it. I thought you could just sit on a computer and just press some buttons, but nah, it ain't that simple. What is the Sixth Amendment? In all criminal prosecution, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature in the cause of accusation. Let me see. And to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor and to have the assistance of counsel for the defense. So, the Sixth Amendment is a very, important amendment. You want to make sure that it's a fair and impartial jury. But another thing I noticed in the Sixth Amendment real quick is that you have a right, it's in the middle, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. And right now, we don't know the nature and cause of the accusation because we don't know what the other crime Trump supposedly committed. Oh, here we go. Laura Loomer on Twitter says on X rather, the jury is asking to hear what Judge Merchan's instructions. What? Wait a minute. What? Now that's interesting right there. So now this is a first. Well, I will say this, maybe it's different in New York because in Texas, we do it a little different. New York, they give closing arguments and then the judge reads the jury instructions. But in Texas, the jury instructions are read first and then we do closing arguments. And I like it better that way because you read the instructions to the jury and then as we do our closing arguments, we can point in the jury instructions as we go along with our arguments. So we can tell the jury like, hey, look at page 2. You see page 2 have all these elements. The prosecutors cannot prove elements 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to page 3. They can't prove 8, 9, 10, 11. So on and so forth. And in Texas, the jury gets to take the jury instructions in the back with them. Everyone gets their own copy of the instruction, not the verdict form. It has to be one verdict. But I have never, heard them want a judge to read all of that all over again. You got to remember, it took an hour to read this stuff the first time today. So I agree. The jury they own it. What? I guess it's summertime. Ain't the kids getting ready to graduate? They ready to go on vacation. But it must be some type of debate. And if there's debate, because obviously with any debate, that means that what? We have someone that has taken a position on both sides. So somebody's debating. And if somebody's got a position on both sides of the coin, it's safe to say that the jury is not in agreement, which, leads us back to a hung jury so far. Now, you never know. Let's say they play back the transcript. They read back the transcript, and then someone say, "Oh, you were right. You were right. I did hear the judge say, now I heard it again. You're right." And now they go to the other side. Or you may have that person that say, "Okay, yeah, you were right on that part, but," and if that happens, then that person probably already has a made up mind. And it's hard to I'm losing my. Come on. Is the connection messing up? It's hard to argue with somebody that got a made up mind. I mean, if it's in their mind that Trump's guilty, no matter what you show them, he's going to be guilty. If it's in their mind that Trump is not guilty, no matter what you show him, he's going to be not guilty. Let me see if I can pull that up on Laura Loon. Let me go to Twitter right quick. Hey, I went to her Twitter page. Somebody said they're not buying it. And somebody said when the judge read the instructions again, he's going to say, I'll say it one more time, make sure he's guilty. Somebody said maybe the jurors are confused. Who thinks they're confused? I will say it's not a good sign for the prosecutors. I will say that. It's not a good sign for the prosecutors because if they had a slam dunk case, as they claim, common sense, you're allowed to bring your common sense with you. You don't have to leave your common sense at the door. If they had a slam dunk case, it wouldn't take 4 hours to convict. You go back there, he guilty, yep, guilty. I have never been ONA. I have never been. Oh, okay, I have never been on a jury. Yeah, I've never been on one either. I never sat as a jury member. I came close to it one time, but they definitely won't pick me now. That's well, you never know, because this jury got 2 attorneys. You never know, but these attorneys ain't in criminal. They're not in the criminal world. They're not, prosecutors or criminal defense attorneys. And the last thing you want to do is get a criminal defense attorney in a room swaying the other 11 jurors. So any prosecutor would be sick in the head, sick, to allow a defense attorney. That's like a defense attorney. If someone tell you, oh, yeah, I'm a former prosecutor, I'm a former, chief of police. Oh, they're going to get a prosecutor the benefit of the doubt every time. Strike them. Strike them and send them on their way. Oh, your husband, he a police officer? You married to a police officer? Strike them. Somebody was telling me last time, Nate, he's a YouTuber, Nate the lawyer. They was telling me that he's a attorney and a former cop. Double strike. Shout out to Nate. Double strike. I don't I don't need a former cop, remembering when he was at work. Oh yeah, I remember when I was on the shift. Yeah, he did it. But it's always best to err on the side of and strike him just in case. Let me see. I can see a jury. It seems as if, because you got to remember, the defense went first and they talked for 3 hours, and then the prosecutors came and talked for 5 hours. And the jury has been deliberating for 4 hours. And they still don't have a verdict. So the prosecution, you can say in theory, because you got to remember, the defense don't have to prove anything at all. The defense don't have to call any witnesses. The defense can literally sit there. They don't have to ask any questions. They don't have to do anything. The burden of proof is on the prosecutors. It's on the state. The state has to prove their case. You have to prove that I did it. I don't have to prove that I didn't do it. That's your job. People were saying Trump didn't testify. He don't have to. And it was my opinion that he didn't need to. Why testify if the other side didn't prove their case? So the prosecutors, this is your case. This is your jury. And now they're coming back saying, can you read the jury instructions again? Can you read them again? Somebody said, I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm not buying it. Oh, the jury didn't went home for the day. Now, see, yesterday they wanted to burn the midnight oil. They went to like 8 o'clock. They got to go home and talk to their spouses. Let me see. Well, there we have it. Thank you, Texas T. That's what they're saying. They dismissed for the day after deliberating for more than 4 hours. Somebody said the judge mad as hell. He said, I told y'all to go back there and say guilty, damn it. The hell y'all come back talking about y'all want me to read this long jury instructions again. The judge gonna go back there in chambers and cuss. The judge said, I'll be damned if I sit here another hour with y'all ass and read this jury instruction again, and y'all ain't gonna find them guilty no how. But this is interesting because, some of the legal analysts were saying that, hey, he's going to be guilty. It's New York. But I went back and looked at that chart of people. And I'm telling y'all, that chart didn't look like no standard Democrats. Just based on their professions and there's only so much we know about them. But just based on that, it didn't look like these people are, all 12 of them are Democrat. Even though that shouldn't matter. This is not a trial for, Democrats or Republicans. But, you still got to consider it. You'd be a fool not to. And let me see if I can even. This computer being so janky, I'm scared to even click off. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that chart. This computer being so janky. I just need to get a dedicated live streaming one. Let me see if I can. Exit out some of these other tabs. See, we'll take a quick glance before we run it. Trump. Okay, Trump, jury. They say Marshawn, he mad as hell right now. They say he mad as hell right now. That he sent them home. What time is this the normal time they leave in New York? Is this the normal time? Somebody that's in anybody on the East Coast? Let me see. Oh, okay, he's finna go live about Rakita. Is I'm saying his name right? I see. I don't know nothing about because I haven't been on the the YouTube community that long. But supposedly the Rakita guy, he's a lawyer. Right. Last thing Taylor said, he had already said what was going to say about Rakita. Right. I'm not sure, about the guy because I don't know him personally. But by physical appearance, I mean, I deal with a lot of different clients. The families hire me. You can kind of tell with somebody's physical appearance there's something going on. And it just looks like something's going on, with him. That maybe it's a personal battle that he's trying to overcome. But you can just kind of tell that it's some substance abuse, some type of substance abuse going on. And I don't know the guy, but just looking at him, go look at some of the recent videos. You could kind of see. So I don't know how he, slipped into it. I see. You just said it. You just said it, Texas. See, I was trying to sugarcoat it. I was trying to sugarcoat it. God. Old folks say, tell the truth and shame the devil. He definitely, he on something looking at him. I mean, you can look. Is this a person that you can look? Is this a person I trust in my house right now? Hell no. And one thing I found out working with these people, and when I say these people, those that suffering with some type of alcohol or drug addiction, you know, when they families hire me, it's not the person that you upset with or the family's so upset with. It's the addiction. Like the addiction has them in such a, you know, such a strong chokehold that it's hard for them to break through that cycle. Like they get hooked on all type of stuff. Like I was saying, a story at the court reporter. They said she was doing more dope than a little bit. The judge and stuff apologizing. And don't apologize to me, hell. That's your court reporter, not mine. Oh man, if they ever get a hold of this YouTube, they may, you know. Hey, the truth. The judge, so if you're watching, like, you know I'm telling the truth. You know, hey, you want to come on? You come on. You know I'm telling it. Everyone says he choose drugs over his kids, and all the drugs choose for him. Yeah, it's a like an addiction. Like people don't understand the power of addiction. The way I like to do it is in terms of food. We all got our you know, our choices of food. Maybe it's soda. You know, you ain't supposed to be drinking soda. You trying to lose some weight, or maybe you ain't supposed to be eating that much cookies or ice cream. You're overweight, but you still gonna fast food. You still gonna eat it. Now imagine a drug, which is way more powerful of an addiction than food. You just can't let it go. And this how bad it is. I remember when COVID was happening and everybody was saying that on social media they were losing their smell and their taste. They couldn't smell it and taste their food, but they were still eating unhealthy. I'm like, okay, well, if you can't taste your food or smell it, that's the perfect time to eat clean. You can't, you know, you can lose some good weight. But they still ate the same food because it's a mental thing. They still ate the fast food, even if you couldn't taste it, even if you couldn't smell it. So I understand. I dealt with some clients, boy, that addiction had a hold of them, and then they'll get clean, and then I could tell when they start slipping back because then they start making their excuses again. Here come the lies. Here come the excuses. Oh, I didn't show up. I forgot I had a drug test. And then they'll show up like 3 or 4 days later so the cocaine can get out their system. You're not fooling nobody. Soon as we go to court, the judge is going to know. He's going to know, okay, you missed your drug test, then you showed up, and then you tested clean. And then you stay clean, and then they'll call you back in for a random. You miss it again, or if you do show up, then it's positive. So I hope Rakita, if I'm saying his name right, Rakita Law, I hope he, you know, get it together. And I know it's easy said and done. That's why I encourage people, don't open Pandora's box. She said, well, Texas T, I don't know. Yeah, my father-in-law is an addict, so I've seen it all and heard it all from my hood. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. That's why I tell people, don't even open Pandora's box. Don't even try. Don't even say, oh yeah, I'm going to try it to see if I can handle it. And if I don't like it, then I get off of it. No. The best way to stay off of it, don't even try it in the beginning. Don't even do it. That's like saying, when they say prevention is better than the cure, why get sick and go to the doctor so you can get medicine so you can get healed when you could have prevented it in the first place? Oh no, just try it. Just try it. Just put this needle in your arm. It ain't gonna hurt you. You're gonna have a super high. Hell no. I'm not putting nothing in my arm. And then what happens? They get that first high, and then all they do is chase it over and over again. They chasing that first high, and they can never get it again because it's called the first high for a reason. And then they keep doing it over and over again. Imagine somebody 40 years old, 50 years old talking about, oh, they want to chase their virginity again. Go back. I want to go back to when it was my first time. Come on, is that realistic? You could do it 100 times more, 200 times more, 1,000 times more, chasing it, and they still ain't gonna go back to when he was the first. And I would think, and this goes to show you that this type of addiction can happen to anybody. People think, oh, Rakita, he a lawyer. He a judge. He a doctor. What a doctor doing taking his own opioids? Oh, thank you. Thanks for stopping in. I'll catch the rest later, but have a great rest of it. Thank you. Same to you. Yeah, and I ain't even talking about nothing else. I'm just ranting. Yeah, some judges might even be doing, smoking marijuana. I have some clients, they gotta smoke, or they have these vape pens. And I tell them, first of all, stop doing it if you can. But if you can't, why are you riding around in your car doing it? You keep getting pulled over. They're gonna run your license plate to see you have a history of having marijuana in your car. They're gonna stop and mess with you. So you might say, well, the judges do it, the doctors do it. Yeah, they're not driving around doing it. They're probably doing it in their homes. But even then, that can open up the door to more hardcore drugs, if you will. And I think that's where this attorney, who I don't know, but just looking at him told me what Texas T said, that yeah, he definitely. Okay, hey, all right. Thank you for stopping in, and hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow, and and we'll see if we get a verdict. Yeah, but thank y'all for tuning in. I was gonna do a little bit about Nathan Wade later, but if AB already covering it, let me see if she is. If she's already covering it, ain't no sense in me us both doing it. I was just gonna talk a little bit about his second interview. While I wait and see if she does it. I mean, the second interview came out a while back. I don't know. Do people even want to still hear about Nathan Wade, or y'all tired of him? Y'all tired of him? Y'all say let it go. Let it go. Don't come back on and say nothing about him. Anybody know? Y'all know who Nathan Wade is? Fannie Willis, boyfriend. Nathan Honeypack Wade. All right. Well, I'll be back on tomorrow. We can just do, watching. Maybe we'll get a verdict. Maybe we'll get a verdict in the Trump case. But right now, it's not looking good for the prosecutors. They thought they had a slam dunk case. They tried to slam dunk and hang on the rim. But guess what? The rim fell down and all the glass broke. So you got to be careful hanging on the rim. And they hung on the rim when they did their closing arguments for 5 hours. Nobody want to hear closing arguments for 5 hours. If you talking for 5 hours, that's telling me your case is weak. You your case ain't as strong as you thought it was gonna be. But thank y'all for stopping in, and we'll jump back on hopefully tomorrow. Let me check my calendar right quick. I don't think I have court tomorrow, but I do have my best friend's flying into town for his mother's surprise birthday. And hopefully she don't watch me. I don't think she watched me, so we should be good on that. Why you say something? Why you say that? Boy, she probably already know you coming. You know you can't put none past a slick woman. They know. Wait, I gotta pick him up from the airport. And see, we old school. When you get family or friends coming into town, you don't send a car. You don't send a driver. You go get them. After they've been on a plane, the first face they want to see is yours. So if you can do that, that's always good. So I'm gonna try to jump on tomorrow. Maybe I go to the airport, pick him up, come back. I don't know. Maybe we'll work it. We'll figure something out. We'll take a break, jump back on. But all right, I'll let y'all go. They saying that lead is live right now. Let me check YouTube and see if he's on. Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is on. So that, and he's talking about that guy, the Rakita Law guy. Hey, well, hopefully he gets the help he needs. He needs help and he needs treatment. And a lot of times people think him getting in trouble is bad, but it might actually be good. I've seen cases where people getting in trouble was the best thing that could have happened to them. Could have potentially saved their lives, because now they have to go through treatment. Now they have programs. Now they're getting the support. Now the family knows, like, hey, you've been suffering with addiction in silence this whole time, when you could have easily came in and the family could have, supported you and you didn't have to do it alone. So I think now that it has been exposed that he has an issue going on, that he can get the help he needs. And quiet as it's kept, if his family members, if I'm a stranger and I'm looking at him and can tell that something's not right with him, yeah, he's on some type of, he's suffering with addiction, his family should be able to, tell that. If you think about it, if you see your brother, your cousin, your nephew, your mom, your daddy, uncle, you know what they look like and what they don't look like. You know something going on. And you don't want to have that regret of not saying something. Well, I don't want to say nothing, it's not my business. No, what's going on with you? Are you on drugs? Do you have a problem? Because if so, we're going to get you some help right now before it gets too late. before you end up hurting yourself or hurting your family. And then it'd be too late. So you know someone that's going through it, say something to them. Say something. And you ain't got to say it with hate. It can be said in love. And they may tell you, yeah, I got an addiction. Yeah, I got in the wreck. I had back surgery. I started taking opioid pills. The next thing you know, I got addicted. The doctors quit prescribing them. So next thing you know, I start going to the streets. In the streets, the drugs are not as safe because in the streets, it might be mixed with fentanyl. And next thing you know, the person may be overdosing or dead. So yeah, if you see some, speak up on it. So I hope Rakita Law, gets that help that he needs. I see a lot of clients suffering through it, and the families. I can see it wear the families down. I look in the mom's face, the dad's faces, and they look at the attorneys and they want us to work a miracle, not even realizing, hey, the miracle is already being worked by your son or daughter being in custody, or they can't have access to the drugs and they can start getting treatment, and hopefully they can heal. So don't be upset. Oh, they're gonna go to jail. Well, if they stay in the streets, they may go to the grave. And parents, I tell them direct, like I'm talking to y'all, this is how direct I am, because this is not a game. I'm not going to sugarcoat and dance around the issue or help your child make excuses, because sometimes the parents or the families make excuses for their loved one. Oh, they said he was doing this. Oh, they said he was doing that. He wasn't doing that. I know my child. Listen, your child got a whole criminal history, pages long, with the same issue, different police departments. So you can't say, oh, one officer messing with them, they got a problem. And if you keep making excuses for them, you're gonna be the enabler in the end result of whatever may come next. So let's just see how it works out for Rakita. He can always bounce back. Like they say, he may be down, but he not out. So thank y'all for joining me and listening to me. I just had to get that out the way, because I see so many people suffering with some type of alcohol or drug addiction. But before I go, let me give the disclaimer. No legal advice intended. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. I'm just here to talk that law. All right, I'll see y'all on tomorrow. Have a good one.